I'm going to lay out a timeline for us. First, Trump gets into office with a growing economy. He fires massive amounts of people, cuts huge swaths of funding across the nation, sends his goons to round up people working here, installs massive tariffs, and now he's surprised the economy is doing badly. All of these policies literally just chop off whole segments of our economy, and he's surprised it shrunk. Now, he said he'd do all of this before the election, and this is what everyone said would happen. Not because they're anti-Trump, but because when you fire people, unemployment rises. When you make people scared to work here, unemployment rises. When you take away funding from schools and businesses, unemployment rises. And when you just raise prices on everyone via tariffs, the economy struggles and unemployment rises. We saw all of this with the new Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers showing terrible job numbers in the economy. This is very, very simple, but Trump refuses to accept that taking money and workers out of the economy hurts the economy. So, because facts weren't working for him, he's going to get someone who offers him alternative facts. He truths this about the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. Important numbers like these must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes. Now, when I read this, what I see is she will be replaced with someone more sycophantic. Important numbers like these must make me look good and should be manipulated for my political purposes. When you listen to a politician, it's good practice to be skeptical, no matter who the politician is. And when you listen to someone who lies as consistently as Trump, it's good practice to look for where he's projecting with whatever he's saying. Like, first, we all know he's going to choose the worst possible person for this job. He just nominated the first CDC director without a medical license since the 50s. Although she pales in comparison to how underqualified RFK is, the man in charge of our health who rightly tells us not to take health advice from him. My money, if you ask me, for the next head of the BLS is on actor Terrence Howard, who literally believes that 1 × 1 = 2. Now, that kind of math will make Trump's economy look good, just not be correct. Second, and speaking about manipulating numbers, the BLS gets data from over 600,000 job sites about the state of employment in the economy. Calculating the unemployment rate from that data isn't that hard. It's just the number of people who want a job divided by the number of people who want a job plus those who have one. With so many people working for the BLS, with so much publicly available and reviewable data, and with such a simple calculation, it's pretty hard to manipulate the results. Which is why it's important to remember that Trump is firing huge swaths of the people in charge of collecting that data, making it much less reliable and much easier to manipulate. He's projecting, just saying without any evidence that this woman was manipulating the data to make him look bad, and now he is going to make it easier to manipulate that data. Look, either he cares about you and our general economy, or he doesn't. If he cared about you, he would look at the consequences of his actions, see that they're bad, and change course. If he doesn't care about you, he'd get rid of the people who show how his policies hurt us so he doesn't have to change. Which one did he do? Remember, it was demonstrably proven by the Bureau of Labor Statistics that tariffs, mass deportation, ending consumer protections, and these wasteful funding cuts make this economy worse for everybody. His response to those facts was, nuh-uh. It's ridiculous. But the good thing is that this is what economists call a natural experiment. He showed us what happens when you remove all this funding. We have excellent evidence now, well, to pile on top of all the other mountains of evidence we had before, that free trade, immigrants, consumer protections, and government funding is the lifeblood of our economy. We can now support politicians who understand that basic truth. One policy you should tell your representatives to support is Bernie Sanders' new Pay Teachers Act, which will establish a $60,000 minimum wage for all teachers, among many other things. That bill will inject money throughout our economy, and will be especially helpful in underserved rural areas. And by increasing the number of people who have disposable income, small businesses will thrive. Incentivizing people to become teachers and stay teachers will make sure our children get a better education, ensuring a more highly educated and therefore productive workforce in the future. Not that that's the only reason to give people an education. But look, there's good policy and there's bad policy. Trump's policy to raise prices and unemployment is bad. You should advocate against it. Bernie's policy to pay teachers a living wage and help children will boost our economy today and tomorrow. That is good policy. I hope you'll advocate for it. Thanks for watching. Please leave me a like and subscribe. It really helps. And if you think I was wrong about anything, tell me why in the comments. Have a great day.